Hello there, collectors, hobbyists, wax rippers, population experts, and members of the hobby. Tonight, it's closing night for session 1 of our January card auction, and we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I'm Mike Provenzale, the production manager at Heritage Sports Auction Department, and on my right is the most gregarious, most beloved member of the hobby, Mr. Tony Giese. Tony, how are you doing this evening?
You know, it's been a long time since we've had one of these, so great to be here. Great to be back in 2023.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
Brand new year, and we're back doing the same thing. No job advancement for us.
No, maybe next year.
Next year,
We can always
look for.
We can always hope.
But it was a spectacular year for Heritage Sports and Heritage in general. We're going to look at some of the highlights from Heritage's year a little bit later. But tonight, session 1 of our January card auction. So we've got vintage tonight, cards, singles, sets, wax, whatever you're into card-wise, we've got it tonight. Session 2 is tomorrow, which is the modern side starting in 1980 and moving all the way to 2022. Do we have any 2023 cards in there yet?
Working on it.
Working on it.
So we still have time.
We also have tickets tomorrow night. So we're going to talk about highlights from tonight and tomorrow as we move towards extended bidding, which begins at 10 p.m. Central Time tonight. You can watch us. You're watching us somewhere right now, but we're on Facebook, YouTube, the auction homepage, and our recent bid screen where you can see all the bids come in live as we move towards extended bidding, which begins in 90 minutes. Tony, what do you like about this January card auction?
Well, first of all, I love some of the signed cards that we have, which we'll be talking about tonight, and ones that you rarely ever see. But there's a great sampling of everything from new cards to vintage. Of course, a lot of great vintage cards, and that market has been pretty stable in the last few years. So there's kind of something for everybody.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about it.
It's a big night. We're excited, and it was a big day. Tomorrow, we're finishing our Platinum Night auction catalog. That auction will be launching this weekend, and the catalog will be going out in 10 days. So as this auction winds down, we've got more coming up next month. Very exciting. But let's talk about some cards that are closing tonight. And Tony, of course, we're going to start with a little known obscure card that not many people own or have seen, the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle. Heard of it?
I've heard of it a lot this last year.
Yeah,
especially around August, September.
Tony, have you ever owned a 52
I've never
Topps
owned a
mantle?
52 Topps mantle. I've never had an opportunity to get one at a decent price. I don't think it's a card I'm ever going to own.
Yeah, probably not at this point. The calling card of the hobby, many say. I'm in agreement there. The other option might be the T206 Wagner, but there's only 60 of those. You have to be really elite to own one of those. But this is an elite example of everybody's favorite card. The Mick there, the young Mick glancing over his shoulder. This is an SGC Near Mint to Mint 8, which is a Pop 4 with just 5 superior, and a beautiful example. And what I love about this one, Tony, comes from that famed Rosen find, Mr. Mint, which is the same find from the example we sold in August. What does that mean to you?
The Rosen find?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it tells everybody that you can still find things. I mean, now that happened in the 80s.
Could be out there.
Yeah, exactly. But just that, you know, the cool thing was that story is on film. He also did a book and he described it. So
he talked about it some.
Oh, he did. The best promoter this industry has probably ever seen.
Till Tony Giese, but yeah.
No, Mr. Mint. You know, it just tells you that there is stuff out there. And it could be in a barn, it could be in an attic, but
I like that you lead with barn.
It
shows your rules.
Yes, exactly.
There.
We have to.
Totally.
We have to. But no, I mean, and just imagine without that find, the population would be, you know, there'd be virtually no high end examples of that card.
Nailed it.
So yeah, I did, didn't I? That's on the blooper reel for 2023.
So this is an SGC8, beautiful example. The colors are bold, the registration is crisp, and no wax or gum staining anywhere on there. You can see the centering a little bit off on the front, which is what accounts for the 8, but a glorious example that's going to find a new owner tonight, Tony.
Yeah.
And
that's the card. That's the post-war card that everybody wants. And to find a good one like that, very difficult.
Yeah. And speaking of another card that's hard to find a high-end example of, another iconic rookie, this is the 79 O-Pee-Chee Wayne Gretzky. This one's a PSA Mint 9, so only 2 10s out there. This is just a small step below. Famously, the factory cut the cards with a wire, and as the wire dulled, the edges of the product became less sharp, an accepted characteristic of it and a good indication that it's authentic. O-Pee-Chee, the Canadian version and the more desirable of the two, also a Topps example out there. But the 2 10s, 7-figure examples, we sold both of them in the last few years, one for 1.2 and one for 3.2 million. So a huge card, the most important hockey card, of course.
It is, and that card is so difficult to find centered.
Yeah.
And with those blue borders, they chip quite easily. And, back then people didn't take care of them like they do now. And it's just a tough card. And I can't tell you how many times I'm up in Canada and somebody's got one, but every time it seems like 4 and 5 grade. And to find that card in a Mint 9 is just incredibly difficult.
We've seen a lot of raw examples of
yes.
that. After those 7-figure sales for the PSA 10s, I think we did inquiries and appraisals on every raw Gretzky rookie in Canada and North America. And as you said, a lot of people say, oh, mine looks just like that. But
yes.
It's those small imperfections that can have the biggest difference. And beautiful example here in a Mint 9, Tony.
Yep. And I mean, he is the hockey guy.
Yeah, the undisputed GOAT, of course.
Yep. And I think that's a great investment as well. I mean, I think a lot of people are looking for those cards that are not going to go down. That's one of them because there's so few in high grade and there's not going to be a lot more coming out.
Yeah, that's like a brick of gold right there. You put that away and you're going to be able to take care of your kid's college or a house perhaps in the future. So those are 2 of the huge items, 2 of the most iconic cards. But up next, Tony, I'm going back, way back here. Exactly. Big fan of this series. This is a 1914 Cracker Jack. And there he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Shoeless Joe Jackson, card number 103. This one a PSA Good plus 2.5. So Shoeless Joe, his entries are very popular. Last decade of the dead ball era, simply the greatest hitter on the planet. And he was assessed that by the people who also wanted the title. Cobb said he was the greatest hitter. Ted Williams considered him the greatest hitter. And while Cobb and Williams used a scientific approach to the process, deconstructing that fragment of a second that can be the difference between success or failure at the plate, Jackson's approach was a little less cerebral.
He had Black Betsy. That
made his own bat.
That was a secret. Black Betsy.
But he was just a natural. And the illiterate farm boy from the rural South who just had a gift. And of course, he's one of those players that his infamy is what makes him so popular from the 1919 Black Sox scandal.
And there's just not a lot of his stuff out there.
Exactly.
There's a few cards. There's a few card issues, but autographs and anything else is almost non-existent. So to have anything of his, really tough to find. And that Cracker Jack card, we've talked about it before. It's just such a beautiful looking card.
Yes.
That red background, the Black Betsy, the swing. It's got everything going for it. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous card.
And like Jackson himself, the Cracker Jack cards were largely a victim of circumstance, Tony.
Yes, they were.
2 big factors here with finding high-quality examples. Time and that gooey treat that they were packed with, the Cracker Jack. So a lot of issues with any surviving examples. But this one displays beautifully. There's a small crease on the upper left-hand corner. But this is one of those cards that if people are going to nitpick, you say, show me yours. This is from a total PSA population of just 43. So when you're talking about an iconic, famed athlete and low supply, you're going to see great prices regardless of the grade. And, for Crackerjack 2.5 is a
it's really
pretty
high
good
grade for that card. Yeah.
Amazingly. It's just, imagining pulling it out of a Crackerjack box. The treat hasn't changed much.
No, it hasn't.
And another great example here. This is one of my favorite rookies in the hobby and one of the rarest as well. 1925 Exhibits Lou Gehrig rookie. This one's an SGC VG3. Gehrig did enjoy a brief late season debut with the 23 Yankees, who won the World Championship. And then in 24, he had 10 appearances, but it was 1925 when he really made his debut.
That was the Wally Pipp.
June 1st, 1925.
Wow, very
the streak
good.
begins, Tony. An incredible minor league player. 504 plate appearances in 1924 prior to getting called up, and 37 home runs and batted .369.
Not a bad start.
So that's how you get called up to the most dominant team in the league right there. Great example here. The surface is very clean, no creases in sight. Some edge wear and some rounded corners as to be expected. But there's under 100 examples in the combined PSA and SGC population. A very interesting card. Gehrig is so popular in the hobby, and he's another one of those guys that there just is not a lot of material of his out there to have. And his rookie card, less than 100 examples.
To have his true first card, too.
Yes.
There's not a lot of cards of him that were made, and have his rookie in that kind of grade is just amazing.
Yeah, and a beautiful full portrait image right there. The larger card, mid-swing, just a great example. And, this card, even we don't see very many examples. There aren't many out there. And whenever we have one, collectors are scrambling to get it. So we expect to see some action tonight. And Tony, I've been hogging the mic all night. So,
all right.
What do you
oh,
talk
my
about
goodness.
Here? Yeah, please.
I get one item. I get one. He
one
gets
item.
seven.
There
That's
you
kind of
go.
how we no. Kind of on the same thing. We have a 1933 Gaudi Babe Ruth.
Classic.
And, I just love it. I mean, again, that background, the swing, the Babe, kind of towards the end of his career, but that Gaudi set is
kind of filling out that uniform there.
Very admirably. Very admirably.
I mean, he's no Rob Rosen, but
no, nobody can be that. That's talent. I mean, but no, I mean it's there's not a lot of his stuff out there, and they had, I think there was 4 cards in that set, and this one to me is so beautiful. It just jumps out, and you've got that swing, and you've got Ruth, and that Gaudi set again, extremely popular, and right now 10,000 with I think a 15,000 estimate. So
Gaudi number 3 on my most iconic sets, Tony.
Mine's, I'm going to tell you this, mine is, I don't know why, but the 1954 Topps set.
Number 1 for
is
you?
number 1 by far, not just because of the rookies of Aaron and Banks and K-Line, but just the beauty of that background. And I just love that they have the portrait, and then there's the action painting. And I always say, and you've got Ted Williams as the bookend on that set, but I always like the 54 Topps for me.
Okay. Yeah. I'm putting T206 number 1, and that rocketed up when we sold David Hall's collection. I spent a lot of time talking to him, a wealth of knowledge, and he really opened up to me and to anybody who will ever talk to him how expansive that set is. We have a lot of great T206 cards.
And all those backs, too.
Yes.
All those different backs, so you can never really get every single one. He might have. But
can you?
David Hall, yes.
But this next one, this is number 1 on my list as far as sets, 1948 Leaf. And the key card here, the most popular and one of the hardest to come by. This is the Satchel Paige rookie, 42-year-old rookie, only 1 year younger than me, and he's starting out in the bigs. So you're telling me there's a chance?
There is still a chance. I wish I could have seen him pitch.
Yes.
So long and so lanky, and you hear all these stories that he tells outfielders to sit down, and even that he pitched in the 60s, and he pitched like 1 inning, I think, for the A's. It might have been, but just to see him in action would have been so cool. And could you imagine if you would have gotten to play in the major leagues, what he would have done? I mean, he would have just been Unstoppable.
But I love the portrait. This is the perfect portrait for Page. He was such a character. You mentioned his antics on the field, one of the most quotable athletes we've ever had. So I love, he's starting to laugh on this portrait. And, it couldn't have been easy for him to be kept out of the majors until he was 42. Even though he was still a high quality pitcher at the time, he was past his prime when he finally got his shot. But, you never heard him complaining about that or making issue with it, even though it had to bother him. So I love that he's laughing in this portrait. 48 Leaf, the first post-war set to be in color. And they took great advantage of that. Just bold hues. They really went for the design. Looks like a propaganda poster. This is an era of extreme patriotism, and this set fits right into that. And the Page rookie is a short print, so very hard to find.
A lot of factors.
Yeah,
a lot of factors
contributing.
making that a
and
great card.
This one's a PSA 6, so a great example. And it's going to find a new home tonight too, Tony. I know a lot of people who are looking for that one. Difficult to find those Page rookies. Next, an underrated card.
An underrated player.
Yes, and a lot of people
player, I think.
always ask us, this is probably the question I get most often when I tell people I work at Heritage, what's next? What's the next big thing? Everybody wants to look for what they can get in at a small level, and it's going to explode next. And I'll tell you, we do know the answer to those questions. We just are not at liberty to reveal all of them.
Can you tell me, maybe?
No,
because I could use some advice, maybe.
But this is a card, incredibly important athlete that I just think is very undervalued. It's the 49 Bowman, Roy Campanella. Incredible player, tragic figure as well with the accident late in his career. But the rookie, 3-time NL MVP, played on those Dodgers teams in the 50s, the most glorious era of New York baseball, kind of like a golden era. And he was, one of the most popular players on his team. He was just one of those guys who did whatever it took to win. Great quality to have for a catcher. The guys who do the gritty, hard work. And one thing I love about this issue, no text on the front, just the image.
You're right.
So they really put the image forward. And this example, PSA Mint 9, is just gorgeous. No issues with the registration and the wax staining, which are very common in this issue. And only 2 have graded higher. Great portrait of him, like a stoic portrait.
I was going to say, Satchel Paige looked a little more jovial than Campy does here. Campy looks serious.
Yeah, and, I kind of like that. He reportedly a gregarious guy, but, when you have a tragic end turn, it kind of suits him. The start here kind of has a serious, stern look, but one of the greatest players of all time, and I don't think people talk about it.
I think you're right. And there's a really sad image of when I think of him that he's in his wheelchair at Ebbets Field. I think he's got a pennant in his hand.
Yes.
And it's right before they tore it down. And just seeing that and seeing him in that wheelchair, just thinking that they're tearing down that stadium, it's hard to see.
It was really like an end of an era.
It really is. Yeah.
All right. Of course, we got to talk some Ty Cobb. Tony, have we talked Ty Cobb yet?
We haven't talked Ty Cobb.
All right, I think you got one mention, but some great unique examples. Everybody knows the classics for Cobb, but we've got some great unique ones. And I really like this one. This is the 1911 E94 Close Candy Ty Cobb with the green background, brought to us by George Close, the candy manufacturer. And great image of Cobb here. I like it when it's fielding Cobb because so many...
you just get so used to seeing him batting.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or sliding into base, stealing a base.
But
you're right.
Great fielder, just a winner, would do anything to win. I think this is a great image of the defensive side of it, leaping for the ball. You got that vibrant green background and a vivid white framing to it. Very modest corner wear on this one. But a great example of, an underappreciated Cobb card. There's a lot of Cobb entries out there. And, so this is one that, you can get for a better price than the T206s, but it still has that kind of aesthetic as well. And speaking of Ty Cobb, I had to bring this one up because I noticed it before we started the show. This is a 1909 M101 2 Sporting News supplement.
You nailed that.
Ty Cobb.
You nailed that
I was
one.
working on it.
I love that. I love that image.
$800 estimate on this one, and currently it's at $3,000. So somebody knows something out there.
Somebody better do a better job of estimating. No,
we were having a discussion about it. Great image of young Cobb here, steely gaze. It's 7x10, so a nice size here. It has no rips or tears. A little corner and edge wear, but
he looks a little serious.
Yeah, of course. He
better not be smiling.
But very supple paper. It's not brittle. A lot of the examples of this are very brittle, and you don't want to handle it. But this one's in very nice condition. It presents excellently. And one thing we've talked about a lot with the boom of the industry in the last few years, prices have exploded on a lot of things. Cobb is one example. So a lot of people, a lot of collectors, we offer things for collectors at all levels, not just the people who can pay 5, 6, and 7 figures. So a lot of people are getting moved out of the traditional entries in the hobby, and they have to look for new things that they like, that are original. And you've got a lot of new people coming into the industry. And some of those people, Tony, don't care what we thought about what's the most popular, what's the most important. They're going for what they like, and I think this could be an example of that.
And it's from
people have their eye on it.
And it's from when he was dominating. I mean, he always dominated, let's be honest. But I mean, it's from, when he was at the top of his game, and he's got the bat in hand, he's got the arms out. I mean, it's a great, great image of Cobb. And
you can see the full D there.
Yeah,
also.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So an interesting one. I'm very intrigued to see where it ends up tonight. We always have a lot of things that exceed or double their estimates, but when something's just going wild like that, I have to think about, because you got multiple people bidding on it.
Exactly.
So a few people have to know what
something that we don't know.
Whoever cataloged that didn't know. Again, I'm hogging the mic, Tony, but you mentioned sign cards. Do we have any good sign
the one,
cards?
of course, that we're all wondering what's going to happen with is the 52 Topps mantle. We've said it before on this show that, if you brought this card to him, he'd give you a funny look like, what are you doing? This card was always expensive. Even in the 70s and in the 80s, and people didn't get cards signed. You would get a look like you're ruining the card. And to people that did do that, they were well ahead of the game. And this 52 Topps mantle, I love where he signed it. He signed it dead center. You'll see sometimes he would sign it in felt tip. Yes. But a lot of the diehard collectors love to have it signed in the ballpoint pen, which was what they would have used back during that time period. So classic look, great autograph. I loved where he put it. $185,000 right now. Autograph grade 10. Yeah. So you've got
unimprovable 10.
Exactly.
As our catalogers would say.
Yep.
But you're right. Perfect placement on it. There aren't a lot of spots on this card.
No.
To accommodate his autograph, which is pretty big and pretty long. But I think that's the best spot right there.
Absolutely. Because if you sign it on his face, that's a
he's not signing on his face.
Hopefully not.
Come on.
And you're not going to sign on the cap, because then you're not going to be able to see it. So he picked a great spot to sign it. And, again, there's just not very many of these out there. And the rookie cards, even though 51 Bowman would be his rookie, but those early cards signed by athletes have just gone crazy now.
Yeah, that's a good point. So on the modern side, rookies are always signed, almost always. Very commonplace. So new people coming in, kids coming up, it's not weird to them to see a signed card. And when you always start with who you watch play, so you're collecting the current people, and then it opens the door for you to move back through history. So it makes sense if people say, hey, I've got my signed Trout card, I've got my signed Brady card, Mickey Mantle, I want a signed Mickey Mantle card. Yep. And those are so rare, signed Mickey Mantles. We've only seen a handful, so it takes the rarity, it's a rare card anyway, but to another level when you've got an autographed copy. Yep. And we have the 52 Topps signed mantle, so guess what? We have a 53 Topps signed mantle. Do. This one, a beautiful example as well with a 10 autograph. Likewise, he put the autograph in the perfect spot, and there's a nice spot for this on his shoulder on the 53 Topps. But yeah, a 10 from the Mick. The card is PSA 4. So PSA has 50 signed examples of this in the population, and only 4 of those have a higher card grade. Everyone's well aware that the population doesn't correlate the autograph grade here, but only 4 higher for the card grade, and this one has a 10 auto. So I'm just going to say it. This is the finest signed 53 Topps mantle that exists.
Yeah, and the whole thing is, when you would take one to get signed, you're not taking your nicer one.
Right.
You're going to take one that's beat up or it's really off center or there's big issues with. You're not going to take that really nice card, but somebody did.
Tony, sounds like you have some experience getting cards signed.
Absolutely loved it. Still have them, actually.
Yeah, what's your favorite signed card in your collection? I'm putting him on the spot.
Yeah, he is.
You have
as far as like that, I got him.
Ben Baker. It's got to be Ben Baker.
That was, I got nervous and I gave him a Sean Westford card to get signed, and he goes, "That's not me," but he did sign my card. So, I was nervous at the time. It was after exhibition game in Green Bay against the Timberwolves.
Okay.
Yes.
But plenty of iconic signed rookie cards in the auction. In fact, we have a signed 51 Bowman Mays rookie as well. And this one, the autograph is just blazing on it. Another hobby classic, and a great spot for the autograph on this one. And we've got a 10 auto from Say Hey Kid here. Look at that perfect placement. He squeezed it all in the white. How about that?
And he didn't always sign it so nice on things. A lot of times you hear some horror stories about where he'd signed some of the bats and stuff. But there's a documentary that just came out, I think, on HBO Max about Willie Mays, and we've seen the prices.
Is HBO Max sponsoring the show now? That's great to hear.
They're sponsoring me at least.
Okay.
So I don't know about you, but
can you get me on House of Dragons? That's all I'm gonna ask.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, thank you.
Get in line, though. You have to get in line.
I do have that grizzled look.
You do. You kind of do.
Thank you.
But I mean, we've seen the prices on his uniforms, on even autographed baseballs, and of course on the bats go up. His cards are going to continue to rise because, he could do everything.
Yeah, five-tool athlete right there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I like this example, this next one. This is the Eddie Matthews signed 52 Topps.
And that's a tough card with the high series.
Right here. Yeah, the last card in the series. The ender right here, and one of the more overlooked members of the 500 Home Run Club.
He is so underrated.
Possibly the most overlooked.
I cannot explain why the prices of him aren't more. Now, this card, I understand being in the high series, but like on his memorabilia, bats are a few thousand. He should be a $10,000 bat.
Yeah.
All day long. He is 3,000 hits.
Bids up.
Yeah, Eddie Matthews, very underappreciated. And he was a Brave his whole career, his whole life, I think.
One-team athlete, rookie card, signed, a lot of 52 Topps collectors.
Look at the centering on that card, too.
Yeah.
It's dead on. Absolutely dead on centered.
Yeah, so the card of VG3, but like we've seen, high prices recently just for the aesthetics coming through on it, and centering being a huge part of that. So if you're a 52 Topps collector, this is
that's a tough
example.
Yeah, you rarely see that one signed.
All right, Tony, what else you got over there as far as signed cards? We've got some doozies.
I was just thinking about this. Mantle and Mays, they did card shows from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and Mays hasn't done a sign in a while now. But this card here, Jackie Robinson never did an autograph sign.
Correct.
He would sign through the mail, and if you saw him at a game, he would sign your autograph. But this one here, if you talk Holy Grail, this would be it. The 52 Topps signed Jackie Robinson card. Very few of these out there, of course. And again, he signed it dead center. The autograph is just gorgeous. I think it graded an 8, and the card a 3.5. This is one that very few collectors have been able to find. And there's a lot of people collecting the 52 Topps set autograph. This is the one that you just don't find very many of them out there. I'm not sure what the population is. I can't imagine it being over 8 or 10, maybe, let's say.
We're very lucky to have these jobs, Tony, because we see some remarkable items, some of the greatest items in sports history that exist. And I don't get jaded. I know some people in our office do. But there's some items that when they come in, they stop down the whole office. Everybody literally drops what they're doing to look at it. And this is one of those.
It is.
When it came in, everybody had to see it, and a lot of oohing and awing. And it's just impossible to get. You just do not see them, and it's not just a signed example, but an incredible
52 tops,
one.
no less.
Yeah, so
That's what this, most of the time you'll see index cards, or you'll see them, signed programs that people did that. But this, you would have had to probably had to send to him to get it autographed, and it's one it's got to be the toughest one from that set.
Yeah, this is the kind of item that elevates any collection, no matter what it is. You put this in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and it takes their collection up a notch. So I'm expecting some fireworks for that one tonight. What are you doing next? Oh, yeah. Another great signed baseball card, another legend. This is the 1948 Leaf. I already mentioned how much I loved that issue. And this is a autographed Ted Williams, card number 76, with a mint 9 autograph from the kid here. And great issue, of course, those bold colors. This is my favorite Ted Williams card right here. I just love that pose. I mentioned earlier that it looked like propaganda. This is a Ted Williams propaganda poster right here.
It is.
If you were trying to get people to buy stock in Ted Williams, this is the image you would show them. And a mint 9 autograph from him there, and a very slick and precise autograph as well. The card, no creasing, brilliant colors, and a frosty white frame to top it all off right there.
I want to bid on this now. You're making, my goodness. And I'm getting hungry too.
But I love how that red on there pops right at you.
And it's waist up too.
Yeah.
You see them so well.
Any other signed rookie cards you guys?
Yeah, this one here.
They just never ends.
Bill Russell, who recently passed away last year, I think it was.
Last year.
And, he did a decent amount of autograph signings. But this one here, signed rookie card, PSA 6, which is very high grade for this card, because this card usually, centering issues.
6.
And he's number 6. Yeah, that's a good call.
There you go.
And, when they conducted the signing, they had him signed it in a green paint pen. So it's an autograph grade pen, but just that, rarely did they have him sign cards this nice.
And you got the green.
And
right
you do
there.
have the green. And, we all know for the most of for a large portion of his life, he wouldn't sign autographs.
Yes.
And then he relented. Well, he got paid fairly well for doing it. But I'm just shocked that this card is at this level.
Yeah.
That's $35,000 right now. And I think a lot of it, of course, is because of the card rather than, the autograph. But still, it's just an amazing card. And, I mean, you look at Mount Rushmore of basketball cards, this is on there. And there's not
the greatest winner in sports history.
Yes. I don't think anybody's going to.
He didn't have enough digits for all his rings.
Yeah, 11
Nobody
rings.
else
And
say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that it's signed in green. That just takes it up another notch for me right there. Got the green in his uniform, offsetting it right
it's
there.
It's a great look. I love that card. It's just a great look.
Yeah, and he's playing defense.
Yeah. Surprise.
So fitting. So fitting.
Yep.
So yeah, signed cards is been really huge over the last year, and I expect that to continue because players like that, there's no more coming out. There is what there is, and that's it.
Yep.
Interesting signed example here. This is a complete set of autograph cards. 1985 Star Company Basketball Court Kings Supers, the 5x7s complete set, Tony. Both series 1 and 2. And before you ask, yes, the Michael Jordan example is autographed as well. Every card, all 50, are autographed from series 1 and series 2. Underrated set here. Great action photos on them.
And the size of them, too.
Yes.
That's what makes it so cool.
So plenty of room for the autographs there. So you've got Kareem, of course, Bird, Magic, Barkley, Olajuwon, Worthy, Isaiah Thomas, Dominique Wilkins, all your favorites, Dr. J. So all 50 signed. If you're a completist but feeling kind of lazy, this is a one-stop shopping right
one
here.
click and you got it.
Set, both series, they're all autographed.
And those are vintage autographs, I bet.
Almost all of them are, yeah.
Wow.
So really incredible offering right here.
Can you imagine how much work, how many times you must have gone to a basketball game, First of all, the hope that they
shows.
sign. Yeah, exactly. The hope that they sign, and I mean, these are all the superstars. And I mean, you and I mean, 80s basketball doesn't get much better than that. That's when the league really took shape and went to that next level, too.
A lot of time waiting outside the parking lot of the stadium to pull that off. So very cool set there. Was very excited to see that one come in. Up next, a modern classic autograph, a card that's really gaining a lot of value. The 89 Upper Deck, Ken Griffey Jr. Do you own one of these, Tony? I bet you own one.
Okay, here's the story on that, real quick. I won't. So it was either to buy the Jerome Walton 1989 Upper Deck Extended or the Griffey. What did I buy? Of course I bought the Jerome Walton. So I got the Walton. I did get a Griffey, and then I sent it in to get graded. It came back. There was a small crease, a lot of them didn't have. And I was so bummed out, I couldn't believe it. But I got a 10 of my Randy Moss SP off that next.
Oh, nice.
Help pay
Very
for a
nice.
semester of college. So.
I guess that's how you ended up in this job. It's kind of like those that can't, that can't do coach.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Those who make those wrong wrong decisions in the hobby, they end up with an awesome time.
Pete Calderon would have not made that.
No,
I can promise you that.
So this one, beloved card. He recently recreated the image in a Twitter post, which I'm a big fan of, with the card's a mint 9 and the autograph is a 10. So it's not going to get any better than that.
For our era.
Yeah, for our era, this is the most beloved rookie, I would say. And then another great autographed rookie from a guy who just hung him up. This is the 2001 Topps Reserve Albert Pujols.
I thought you were going to say Tom Brady for a second. I'm like, wait.
Breaking news.
We're going to break it tonight here? Okay.
No, we're going to bring out Giselle.
Okay.
She's helping Tommy in the back with the knobs and dials on the production back there. But Pujols, I like his autograph a lot.
He's got two versions, a good one and a not so good one. That's the good.
Yeah.
That's the nice sit-down upper deck /
And it kind of looks like an abstract art.
It does.
To me, his autograph. It just kind of fits him, especially this image. Kind of curvy guy, and his autograph is kind of curvy. So I think it suits him well. It's card number 103 with the second 10 autograph from the soon-to-be Hall of Famer, the newest member of the 700 Home Run Club.
Let me say this about him. His last year has brought a lot of attention to him.
It has.
And it was in a good way. I think everybody was happy to see him go back to St. Louis, but he had a great year.
He did.
And, he picked the right time to retire.
Should he go back?
I had this conversation with Jerry Steffens in our comic department, and he told me, he's a diehard Cardinals fan. He said, Lou Brock had a really good year last year, and it might have been Musial. There was two of those iconic guys, and they both – and everyone's like, they should come back, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And Pujols is kind of the same way. And you know what? You got 701 or 702, whatever it was for home runs. You ended on such a great note that nobody thought he was going to get to 700.
He was really celebrated at the end of the year.
Yeah.
He got over 700, finished at 702 because we have a 701 home run ball coming up in the Platinum auction that's going to open.
That's a teaser,
over
everybody.
The weekend. Yeah. So that one, good story behind that one. The fan who caught it, our consigner, he consigned the tickets, and I guess maybe he had his hands full or a little fumbly with the hands because it ended up landing in his drink cup, and we got the drink cup as well that it landed into. The cup actually caught it. He said, not him. So Pujols home run ball coming up, but love that autographed rookie from Pujols. And we've been yammering on for a long time here, Tony, but plenty more to talk about. We've got under an hour till extended bidding. Why don't you hit up that big board? Let's see what
do we have?
You can watch the bids come in live.
Johnny Clipstein, 2,300. Junior Bridgman, 330. Great basketball player. 3,600 for 56. Hank Aaron, Whiteback.
The recent bid screen, which Tommy's showing you right there. Thank you, Tommy. Great way when you're bidding on your things and waiting to see if you get outbid, see what bids are coming up. When a bid comes in, it pops up at the top. You can click the link, take a look at the lot, maybe think, That's undervalued. I should probably throw a bid in that before extended bidding begins.
I just love hitting refresh.
Tony, as it says clearly, you do not have
I
to
know
refresh.
it says it, but I have to. Especially as it gets to extended bid.
There it is right there. You do not need to hit refresh. It automatically refreshes.
I don't believe that.
So we're going to take a quick break. As I said earlier, Heritage had a huge year last year in 2022. 1.5 billion in sales. We have 55 different categories. Whatever you're into, we have it. And we made some momentous headlines this past year. Sports department, of course, we sold the highest selling sports item of all time in August, the 52 Topps mantle in a 9.5 that went for 12.6 million. Still hard to believe. Yes. One of the great things about working at Heritage is just walking the halls, and you never know what you're going to get to see. In fact, have you been to the gallery today, Tony?
I haven't we've been editing, and as you have been too.
Yes.
But I haven't gotten a chance to really get out too much.
So in the gallery right now,
they don't let me out.
We have a hadrosaur tail, which is a dinosaur, a duck-billed dinosaur. Its entire tail, it's over 20 feet long. Just the tail is in the gallery right now. I'll post a picture of it later.
I got to see it.
But you never know. You'll see a Rembrandt come by, or a sealed copy of Legend of Zelda, or Amazing Fantasy 15, the Spider-Man debut. You never know what you're going to see. So let's take a look at some of the highlights from Heritage's 2022. Massive year. Tony, how much did you have to do with all those gigantic sales?
Next question. No, you know what? We're doing better and better every year.
My favorite is that Secret Wars original art, the original art from the first appearance of Spider-Man in the black costume. 3.3 million, Tony. I got to see that in person. I didn't touch it, but got to be this close to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing. We were talking during our break here. You know, when you and I started, or when I started, you've been around longer than I have. You know, I remember like 500 million was a big deal, and it just keeps going up and up and up. Absolutely, 100% it still is. But it's just amazing that these numbers keep going up and up and up. So we're so lucky to be here doing this. And
so come by. We're in our new. It's still new to us. Our new beautiful world headquarters here in Dallas, Texas. It's 3 football fields end to end, 200,000 square feet.
We need scooters. We need scooters. That's the next thing we need.
I told you, Tony, just get some of those wheelie shoes. Pop the wheels out.
Yeah, I'd fall and break my ankle or something. Yeah, that would not work for me.
If he ever does that, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry, I'll get video. But come by, you can get it. Check out what's in our gallery. You never know what you're going to see in there. We've got sports cards and deck arts and dinosaur bones in there. Right,
I got to check that out.
So back to cards. We've got 45 minutes till extended bidding begins. Tonight, session 1, the vintage, is closing, and extended bidding begins at 10 p.m. Central Time, so you have to have your bids in before that. Tomorrow night is the modern side and tickets, starting in 1980 and moving to more modern, so you can bid on those all night. But for vintage stuff, you got to get your bids in the next 45 minutes. So let's talk some hockey. Tony, it's hockey season. The Stars are doing great here in Dallas.
I actually attended a game with Derek Grady, our executive vice president.
Oh, the former head grader at SGC?
Yes, that guy.
one.
Yes,
Okay.
we went to a Penguins game. It was a good time. It was a really good time. Got to see Sidney Crosby play. Went into overtime, and the game ended in like 20 seconds into overtime. But got to spend some quality time with Derek Grady, which is always fun.
Every moment's quality time with Derek Grady.
It was. I had a blast.
So some great hockey offerings in the auction tonight. First one of the most iconic cards in the hockey side of the hobby, 58 Topps Bobby Hull rookie card. This one an SGC near mint to mint 8. Pop 2, none higher here.
I tell you, the ones I've seen have been just almost like they've been, I mean,
you see some rough
run
ones.
over by a truck.
I don't
or something.
know what it is about that issue.
Yeah, and that one is centered as well. We've been talking about centering tonight. That one looks just gorgeous.
And you know, one thing is he was a star right away.
Yes, he was.
And when that happens with the rookie cards, they're going to get handled more because people right off the bat, right when they break them out of the pack, they know they found something important. So if you've got your cup of coffee guy card, it's probably just getting thrown in a drawer and it's going to be in great condition. But the stars, and especially somebody who was a rookie star, but Hull, he's on the Chicago Sports Mount Rushmore.
I love that uniform he's wearing too.
Yes,
look at that.
The Blackhawks. You know, you got Ernie Banks, Walter Payton, Michael Jordan, and then Hull right there. The only man in NHL history to lead the league in scoring 7 times. First guy to score 50 goals in a season. He played 15 seasons, first team, all-star, 10 times, second team twice. And great card here, iconic image. You can see those golden locks that earned him the name, the Golden Jet. And beautiful example, no centering issues on this one, which was a very big problem with 58 Topps hockey. So a beautiful example from the hockey side of the hobby right there. And then, of course, we can't talk about hockey cards and not talk about the Gordie Howe rookie. We have a beautiful one, the 1951 Parkhurst. This is the 52 Topps mantle of hockey cards. I'm just going to say that, Tony. Smaller card, but you got the full image of Mr. Hockey there. My favorite thing about Gordie Howe is saying that you had a Gordie Howe game when you had a goal and assist and got in a fight. Because that's what he was doing every night. He's an 18-year-old here. Well, he's an 18-year-old when he debuted in 46. It's the 51 Parkhurst. But
the Parkies, isn't that what they call them? The Parkies?
Yeah, that's right. The Parkies. You spend time in Canada.
I'm actually working on bringing one of these in, but it's not quite an 8 grade.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So this is one of 14 and an 8 and only 7 graded higher. The corners, the surfaces, the edges, the colors, the printing, all of it is just sublime. And the graphics are just a sliver away from perfection there. So a beautiful example of one of the most important hockey cards that exist. The GOAT before Gretzky took the scene and just changed everything.
I want you to tell me about this next card.
I will. That's why.
No, I'm just curious. Tell me the story behind it.
So this one caught my eye.
It caught my eye too.
I'd never seen it before, and I'm betting a lot of people haven't. It is the only graded example. 1991 Canada Games face-to-face Wayne Gretzky. It's PSA near mint to mint 8, but it's the only graded example. So it's a 1 of 1 of 1
is
of 1.
Is that a short print they did, or what?
So Tony, good question. This is a Canadian celebrity guessing board game.
I've got the Al McGuire.
Oh,
I see it in my own collection, and I'm like, when I saw the Wayne Gretzky, I'm like, why is that? I thought maybe they made less of the Gretzky. I don't understand.
So an interesting idea for a game. So it had 800 face cards in it. And it's just the face, the names on the back.
Okay.
It had dice, had a checklist, had holders for them. And what you would do is you'd put it up on the holder, and then the opposing team had to guess who it was. And it was, athletes, but also movie stars, politicians, celebrities, artists, sportscasters, you name it was in there. Gretzky was in there. It's from 1991.
I wonder if they were like in cellophane or something, and that's why maybe he was on top, or there's got to be a reason why that card is so difficult. I mean, those borders are blue, and I'm sure that they chipped
I just think, how is your Monopoly game from 1991 looking, Tony? I think this is something that
that's a great call.
Board games have a short shelf life, and they're getting handled constantly, and I don't think people save board games.
They weren't thinking that this Wayne Gretzky card.
Right.
What's the population of this?
This is the only graded example. It's the only one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more out there. If you have another one, ha.com.
After that price,
we'd love to see it.
Would love to find another one. But that one really surprised me.
Really unique. I saw it on somebody's desk, and I just said, what is that? Like, you don't expect to see a new Gretzky card you've never seen. That'd be like if we walked by Derek's office and said, what's that Mickey Mantle card? I've never seen that before. Yeah. So very strange. Got a great portrait, still looking handsome in 91. Gretzky
in Los Angeles, though.
Still the hockey hair at this point. But yeah, very unique. I'm interested to see what that's going to go for.
Every time I've
tomorrow
seen
night.
it.
That one's tomorrow night, so you can bid all night on it.
All right.
And then
you and I are going to fight it out, I think, on that one.
Yeah, maybe. What did you see that caught your eye as far
85 O-Pee-Chee Mario Lemieux. This one continues to surprise me because a card from 1985 with white borders, $40,000 card. Yeah. And to me, I know because of being O-Pee-Chee, centering is going to be an issue, but that one always surprised me. Every time I see these, they always sell for such good money. And it is Mario Lemieux, and he is, of course, an icon.
Great Penguins logo on
and it's a great look. I remember this card when I was growing up, just because everybody wanted it.
Yes.
And I never had one. I'm sorry, I never had one. I guess I could.
You're saying that a lot about these.
I know.
Important and valuable cards.
I remember the '81 Topps hockey, and they had the puck that was black, and you would rub off the puck.
Yes.
That's the one I remember. That's my hockey history right there. I think it's the second or third year Gretzky.
But huge card, and as you said, those prices have exploded. Mm-hmm. That's one that people say, how come you didn't tell me about that 5 years ago?
Yeah,
exactly. I got them for $5,000,
yep.
And now they're selling for, we sold one for almost $100,000 last year.
It's just incredible.
So that one's tomorrow night. Still plenty of time to go for that one, but let's go back in hockey history a little bit.
Are we going way back?
We're going way back.
Okay.
All the hockey awards are named after former players or members of the league. And this is an example of that, the 1911 C55 Imperial Tobacco Vezina rookie right here. PSA 4, the greatest goalie of all time. He was kind of small, so that's surprising.
It's a classic look, I'll say that. I mean, that uniform and just everything about that card is cool, especially with those sticks.
Dead ball era. I don't know if this was dead puck era, perhaps, but a noble portrait of him, looking off into the distance. Great red. The colors really pop on this one. Vezina was in the inaugural Hall of Fame class, 12-member class in 1945. He went to 5 Stanley Cup finals, won 2 cups, and he's hockey's Iron Horse. 15 seasons between the pipes.
That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
And back then, you didn't have much padding on either.
Or masks.
or anything.
Yeah.
You had your stick, and that was
in my opinion, you were the Iron Horse just for going between the pipes back then. But I love this card. The portrait's great. Somebody who's become so historic. The trophy's named after him for the best goaltender each season. And he looks like he knew that was going to happen when he took that photo that they used to make that image. We haven't talked any wax tonight yet, Tony, but plenty of great wax in there. Yeah, and while we're talking hockey,
wax is always
we'd
popular.
be remiss if we didn't mention the 79 Topps hockey wax box. Unopened, 36 pristine, untouched packs in there.
You want to open, don't you?
I was just about to ask. So, this is going to sell for over $50,000. But there's only 2 Topps Gretzky's in a 10. So you're going to get top dollar if you've got a 10 in there. Could you do it? Could you do it, Tony?
Me
Rip
as
it
a
open,
kid,
50,000.
100%.
Well, yeah, but
given the
now-
value, I would keep it as is because wax doesn't really go down in value ever.
Yes.
Wax kind of continues
Because
to
these
go
do
up.
get opened. I'm sure there's been a couple that have been
Breakers,
discarded.
yeah.
Somebody just threw them. Their kid left it in there, and the mom threw it out. Or they can be so easily damaged. If somebody steps on it or you put something on top of it. So like you said, they are getting rarer. Even though I do not think many people are opening.
No,
these,
no.
But it would be a lot of fun. Whoever wins this,
let us know.
Yeah, if you want to pop that open,
You can open
the table
it
right here.
Yes, as long as I can open 1 pack.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
So, Tony,
Maybe.
we're nearing the end of football season, sadly.
It goes by so fast.
For me, it ended
every
on
year.
Sunday at 8:30.
Hey, I was hoping you
essentially.
guys were going to win.
Yeah, you're not the only one.
I'm not going to lie.
It's been a morose week in our headquarters in Dallas, I'll say. But 2 great games coming up this weekend, so let's talk some football cards here. And we're going to start with one of my favorites, 58 Topps Jim Brown rookie. Doesn't get more iconic than that. What a portrait. And I love it's in the circle, like you're looking at him like through a spyglass or something.
Right.
Like some Bill Belichick tactics or something like that. The 6th selection in the 57 NFL draft, the rookie of the year, which it says on the back because this didn't come out till 58. Just a gorgeous example. Bested only 11 times. There's been over 4,000 submissions to PSA. This is one of those cards that everybody that has it, whatever the condition is, they're getting it graded. So it's getting submitted just so they can find out what it's worth to protect it. Only 11 have done better than this one. And
the greatest football player, I think, of all time. And a running back. I think he's a running back that would have been good in any era.
Yes.
Even when he was older. My gosh, even in the 80s, the classic Sports Illustrated, him in the Raiders uniform about maybe coming back. And, the guy was, just a man among boys, it almost seemed like.
And high quality actor. I enjoy a number of his films. So that's a card every football collector needs. And amazing example there. Another rookie, one we don't see very often, but this, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's the finest one that exists. This is the 66 Philadelphia Gale Sayers rookie. Beautiful pose on this one too. This one's a PSA Mint 9. There are no 10s. And
there's no 10s.
No 10s.
Wow.
I talked to Lee Iskowitz about this, and he said this is one of the finest 9s, period, he's ever seen.
And he's seen a lot. So
yeah,
if there's
he's
anybody
seen a lot.
Ask, that would be it would be him.
So incredible example here of the Kansas Comet, 65 NFL Rookie of the Year. Just a graceful force of nature, but he played only 7 seasons. The youngest inductee into the NFL Hall of Fame because of that. The corners, the gloss, the colors, the centering, they're as perfect as you're going to see on this issue.
I even love that top edge.
Yes.
With the NFL logo and then his name. It's a beautiful card. Very clean. Very clean. And especially that pose.
You love that pose from that era.
Yeah, I absolutely
a lot of them,
do.
but I think he was one of the best at it. And that Bears uniform looking fantastic there. But no 10s. And in the opinion of Lee Iskowitz, this is the finest one right there.
He's one of those guys that, hard to explain. Just that he was so much different than everybody else. He's one of those guys, like we had Barry Sanders. His generation, he just was so much faster than everybody and so elusive. And what do you have? The 5 touchdowns with the one game with the Bears. And
one of our clients compared him to LaDainian Tomlinson. That he was just he was fast, he was quick, he could run you over if it needed to be. The defenders just didn't know what he was going to do out there.
I wish I could have seen. You've seen highlights of him how fast he is, but it would have been neat to see him just one time in person.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, Tony. Unfortunately, all we got is film, but you can own the finest example of his rookie card. That is going to be closing tonight. Tony, what card caught your eye?
1965 Topps, the tall boys.
The big boy over here.
Yeah, Joe Namath. And, I mean, you're talking Broadway Joe, just a classic look, that yellow background. This one
looks so cocky in it, too.
He looks very confident. I love the way he's holding that football. As I think we might have talked about this before. That photo was taken in a hospital.
Oh, really?
It was taken. He was in the hospital, and they brought in a jersey. And
he was already having injury problems.
He was having, he had bad knees. But even though his stats weren't always the greatest of all time, they say he just changed the game, and he gave the AFL, which was such a renegade league, so much, gave them their big star.
Yeah,
and
didn't just win the game, called his shot.
He did, and it's New York too. So
that's never going to happen again. Can you imagine a guy at media day just saying,
"Oh my God,
I guarantee we're going to win the game,"
and he's sitting in there like a lounge chair, and there's always reporters around him. So good, so good.
Just puts on his fur coat and walks out.
I met him real quick. I met him at a show in Chicago about 5 years ago, and it took forever to get his autograph. He's standing up. He wasn't sitting. He was standing up, and he talked to every single person. I swear to God, for 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. And he hasn't done too much. He hasn't done much anymore as far as doing signings. But he was one of the nicest athletes I've ever met.
If Tony Giese saying you're nice, then you can take that to the bank.
Yes.
While we're talking about Broadway Joe, beautiful example of a different Broadway Joe card, the 68 Topps Namath, card number 65 in a PSA Gem Mint 10. This is just a Pop 4. You'd have Super Bowl III the next year after this was issued. And it looks like, if you take a look at the photo, he was kind of thinking, I think we're going to win that thing next year. Like he's mulling it over right there. This one, almost 1,500 submissions, only 4 in a 10. Great colors on this one, perfect registration, of course, sharp corners, and that white frame is just immaculate, perfectly encapsulating the unimprovable centering on that one right there.
Great color.
One thing we've seen a lot of in the last year is rookie cards have always been important and valuable, and people moving a little bit more money into the non-rookie entries of these iconic players, especially the PSA 10s, the SGC 10s, the low pop ones. So that's something I really enjoy in the hobby, is some of these cards that, you liked, you enjoyed, and then maybe they're getting priced out on the rookies, or maybe it's people who are just coming in and saying, well, I like how that one looks better than the rookie, and I'm going to do what I want because it's my money. And I agree with that approach. But a lot of these non-rookie entries are seeing some more interest and more money. And that's a very cool one right there. Mm-hmm. Had to bring this one out. One of my favorite vintage football players. This is the 57 Topps Bobby Lane in a PSA Mint 9. I grew up here in Dallas, and pretty much the same for him. He went to Highland Park High School, just up the street from our old location, same as Matthew Stafford, Clayton Kershaw. And then he went to my alma mater, the University of Texas. He was a Longhorn. And then he went to the Lions. Long-suffering franchise, but one of their greatest players.
When he was there, they won.
Yeah, they won. So he was kind of the last link in that. I don't know if there's many Lions fans still out there who remember those days, but those were glory days for them. I love this issue that you get the close-up headshot and then the full portrait, almost full portrait.
If he played today, he'd be the biggest star, because he was a rock star when he played.
Yes.
I mean, he was cutting edge, and he was
Southern guy, boyish, good looks.
Yes,
he kind of had that mantle thing going for him.
Yeah.
If he had played in New York, I think he would be a name that everybody knows.
Yep. Gunslinger.
Yeah.
Big
or
time.
LA or Chicago, one of these big markets. Detroit was a big city.
Detroit, and then he went to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh was horrible.
Yeah, he struggled there. They were all struggling.
Yeah.
But that one's a PSA 9, none higher, so top of the pop right there.
And 57. That's that's a really popular set. There's some great rookies in that set too.
Yes, huge set. Yeah, what do you got, Tony? I'm hogging all the football.
This
talk
one
here.
is, even as a Packer fan, we all love Walter Payton, and I just love the look of this card. Here's another card I've never owned in my life.
Can we just say that about every valuable card?
That was the one I wanted in the Steve Largent rookie. See, I had the 79.
Is that the one that's going to pop next? Because Tony didn't have it, so
I didn't have it. No,
it should be valuable.
Well, the Walter Payton. I mean, this one, ever since I was a kid, this was always the card of the 70s. I think it was.
Yeah,
and it's a great look. I mean, to see a young Walter Payton,
ear-to-ear smile.
Yeah, and again, these they're hard to find in top shape, and this one here is mint 9. So I mean, it's a gorgeous card, and he had to pay his dues. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a rough beginning, but my gosh, he was some say he was the greatest of all time as far as our running backs go, and he was so durable. That's the thing. He missed,
held the rushing record.
He did until Emmett.
So speaking of gorgeous, while we're talking about the Walter Payton rookie, let's bring up a little more wax in the 76 Topps football wax box we have closing tonight.
That's a
Tony,
cool looking box, too.
I'm a big fan of the 70s wax, and this is one of the best. 70s really produced some great and enduring graphics and designs for cards and for the boxes, and love this box. It just jumps out at you.
It's a work of art. It really is.
We had a display case in our gallery. We had items from the sale on display in our gallery all week, and we had a case of wax, and this was the one that the numismatist comes through and they say, what is that? And the fine art people say, and it caught the eye of some of our modern art experts too. This was the one they wanted to know about. And then you say, oh, well, it's got Walter Payton's rookie inside of it. And that just clinches the value right there. But beautiful box. You got the Randy White rookie in there. The Jack Lambert rookie is in there. You got the NFC champ Staubach card in there. Big fan of that one personally. And of course the Payton rookie. This one's from the Monticello River Find, which is one of our consigners who had a huge collection of untouched wax. There's some offered in this auction, and it'll be coming up as well. He decided to name it the Monticello River Find by his locale, and one of my favorites right here. I always love. We don't see too many of these, but I love it when one comes through. Just beautiful.
It makes me think of Monday Night Football with that dark background
it
that.
Does.
And the graphics.
Receding name.
Those colors. It just bleeds 70s. It really does.
Great offering. And while we're talking football, I saw these hanging on the wall in the gallery, actually, and could barely believe it. But the 1997 Skybox Metal Universe landmark issue right here. That shiny metal finish, incredible imagery, and the issue had the ultra rare precious metal gem inserts randomly placed into the packs. And this issue has reached legendary status, across all the sports. This is the football offering right here. So the green, the gems were serial numbered to 150. 15 of the cards were emerald green, and the remaining 135 were the ruby red. This uncut sheet, hard to believe. I love it when these uncut sheets come out.
They have the whole thing together as one shot, and I love those Tampa Bay jerseys.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at
stick
out.
God,
they really
stick
jump
out.
Those pants.
So it's 27 by 37. As I said, the cards were serial numbered. This is not serial numbered, so it's not adding to the population. Probably a proof or something like that. But you got Tony Gonzalez rookie in there, Walter Jones, Orlando Pace, Tiki Barber, and then of course you've got the legends Brett Favre, Emmitt Smith, Coach Prime.
Yeah, get it right.
Dan Marino, Barry Sanders. So great issue. People love the precious metal gems. This is one that it's already framed, and you can see both sides on the frame. Wow. It's glass on both sides, so you can see the back as well. Ready to go up on your wall, and I guarantee you, if you have this on your wall, people are going to say, "Where did you get that?" People are just so in love with the precious metal gems issue. So to have an uncut sheet, this is the green. And don't worry, Tony, we've got the ruby red
Oh,
too. That's the next one there,
Of course
Tommy.
we do.
Yeah, so we've got the green uncut sheet and we've got the red. Both are framed,
Oh man, that looks just as cool.
ready to go. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. If you buy one, you got to buy two. These need to be side by side.
Yeah, they do. They do. That's a good call.
Hanging right by your huge TV, so you can have it in time for the Super Bowl. No problem. Hanging up there. So this is going to close tomorrow night. The Precious Metal Gems uncut sheet. How
Not to
about
put you in
that?
a spot, but do you like one better? That red to me looks real.
So the green is rare, but I agree. I think for
is
display factors, the red is really
Tommy, great
impressive.
job on that.
Yeah, I like that.
My goodness.
But very Christmassy. You got the red and the green, so you put them next to each other. Just tell your wife, "Hey, I got a Christmas decoration for us."
Can I try that? Is that going to work?
I don't think with your wife that's going to work. She's too savvy. Too savvy. All right, we got 20 minutes till extended bidding begins, so let's talk some basketball, Tony.
Basketball's in full swing right now.
Basketball is in full swing. I went to the Mavericks-Wizards game the other night. Luka with 41, but fumbled the ball in the last 5 seconds, and they lost by 1. Still a lot of fun to watch him, though.
Yeah, it is.
So big news recently in basketball cards, the 84 Star Company is getting graded by PSA. Great development there. And we've got an example that is a PSA near mint 8. Huge for this issue. Less than 100 have been reviewed by PSA, 11 at this grade and just 1 higher. And this is 1984. Which came first, Tony? 84, 86? Do you know?
My math is a little challenged. I will say 84.
Yeah, I'm not going to dispute the iconic status of the 86 Fleer Jordan,
a lot more of them
Jordan rookie, using the air quotes here, but this was earlier and far rarer. So these were distributed in sealed team bags, which is pretty interesting in and of itself. Whoever came up with that idea. The Jordan card on top, which is problematic. And it's a production run believed to have numbered below 5,000. And you're talking about the 86 Fleer Jordan. There's over 310.
Yeah.
So this is the earlier and rarer Jordan entry than his rookie.
I don't remember ever seeing them in stores or anything like that.
And me neither.
I've heard they've sometimes handed them out at games, but I don't remember seeing them ever.
Yeah.
Not that I was smart enough to buy them either. I've never had that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tony, you never had that card either. So we have another example of this, too, in the auction while we're talking about it. Which one were you looking at,
Yeah, I was
Tony?
looking at the BGS 8.5, not trying to go ahead of you or anything like that.
I like comparing the two head to head. They're both going to close tomorrow night, so might as well break it out.
It's a card that is really difficult to find center.
Yes.
So many times you'll see these and they're way off center. Again, they didn't, take as much time cutting these. Oh, okay. Technical difficulties, I've been told. But no, I mean, this card here is just so tough to find in high grade. And now, again, with PSA grading them, it's going to, I think this card's going to jump up quite a bit in the next few years.
Yeah, I agree. And like we said, it's on top of the pack. So
they got pushed around.
Top, that's going to have condition issues. So high grade examples are still going to be very rare. No doubt there's going to be more added to the population, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of high grade examples.
That's exactly right.
I like this next one you're going to talk about here.
I don't know why. I was looking through the auction, looking through, and this guy was one of the ultimate scorers in New York, no less, and has a huge following to this day. Bernard King, who is an absolute he could light up the scoreboard like nobody else. And this one here is rookie card in that classic Nets uniform with the stars on the side, red, white, and blue. Yes, he's known for the.
Can we bring that back, Nets? Come on.
That's such a great look. And the jackets, the shooting jackets they used to wear, just so beautiful too. I mean, I would love to see that. That would be a great throwback style to wear. I'm sure they've worn it, but Bernard King to New York hoops fans, he was the thing. And he had a couple injuries that kind of, even after he tore his knee up, he still could score though. And he did have a comeback in the early to mid 90s.
He had a lot of flash and sizzle.
He did. And kind of before his time almost.
So I was interested that you brought that up. We have a huge collection of 78 Topps basketball in this auction closing tonight, and some of the finest examples. So I'm going to point out a couple more. We have the Dr. J 78 Topps in a PSA 10. Cool image going for the jump shot there, and then perfect for him because you got the headshot at the bottom, so you can see the full afro right there, which is crucial on any Dr. J card, in my opinion.
That looks better than Oscar Gamble. I mean, that's
yeah. I'd like to see a head-to-head comparison. Maybe we'll have Tommy do that later. But two legendary afros, no question. Great one there. And then we also have the George Gervin in a PSA 10, which is only a pop 5. And great image of Gervin here. Just the gracefulness, agile, it's all happening. Action shot with that strange jump shot that he had, but was incredibly effective, of course. One of the greatest.
Who's guarding? Is that Wes Unseld guarding him? That's hard to read that one. But
Wes Unseld did have one of the biggest backsides in NBA.
Oh, it is him. Absolutely, that is him. That's Wes in the tight shorts, no less. Wow. Yeah, that's a great card, and it's a great jump shot too.
Yeah,
it really truly is. I just can't believe there's only 4 superior to that. That is amazing.
So it's a 10. There's 5 10s.
Oh, there's 5 10s. I'm sorry.
But very low pop for this card. And Gervin, another guy, very underrated. His cards, his rookie entry even. But that's a great example right there. And I love the shot of Gervin on that one. And since we're in Dallas, we had to talk about the Dirk Nowitzki rookie. They just unveiled his statue.
Oh, I saw the statue
outside the stadium, as did I. The 1998 Topps Chrome Dirk Nowitzki. This is the refractor. His rookie card, a BGS Jim Mint 9.5. Wish on his rookie card he was taking a jump shot.
He's grabbing a rebound. That's kind of weird.
Said, well, he's 7 feet tall. It's that shot of him pulling down a board. But yeah, another one that, him and Tim Duncan, I think their material is really underrated.
Yes.
Legendary players who are really respected by their peers. LeBron is big fans of both of their games. And, those are 2 entries that their cards haven't really popped yet. So this one's closing tomorrow night.
I mean, Dirk basically won a title by himself. I mean, I shouldn't say by himself, but I mean, he was one of the last guys that didn't have.
Jet Terry is going to be up here.
I'm sorry. I like the Jet. Sorry.
I'm sorry. A real team effort. But yeah, he was the undisputed star of that team. And it was just so magical that they beat the super team their first year.
Yes.
The Heat. Nobody gave them a chance, and that was Dirk's shining moment. Legendary moment in NBA history. And, those are 2 all-time stars, him and Duncan, and their stuff just doesn't get the respect that it should.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I really don't. I mean, the guys they were with one team their entire career. I mean, Dirk got a title, Duncan got titles. I mean, they did everything.
Do you own any Dirk or Tim Duncan cards?
I used to write to Tim Duncan when he was at Wake Forest. But back then, there wasn't really stuff to send to these guys. So he would send me schedules. He was on the front of the schedule. He'd send the back. And then, as you'll know this, Slam Magazine. You remember Slam Magazine?
Yeah. Big fan.
Ripping out the page. I had Tim Duncan and sent it to him at Wake Forest. He signed it, sent it back. I still have them.
Does it surprise anyone that Tony was mailing stuff to get signed?
Absolutely. And I got his press pass. I got one of the certified autographs in a pack. I did sell it, which I kind of wish I still had. But anyways.
But he didn't have any of their cards, so that's how you know they're going to be valuable one day. And speaking of valuable cards, this next one, Vintage Stars on a modern card. We've seen some good prices for that. This is the 2004 UD Exquisite Collection. This is Bill Russell, Larry Bird, autographed dual exquisite fabrics. And you got the game-worn patch. You got the autographs from both of them.
It's a great look to that.
Celtics
too.
royalty on this card right here. Beautiful aesthetics on it. And you've got 10 autos from both of them. And this is number 2 of just 2. So Celtics fans, two of the greatest winners.
The two names in that franchise, those are the two guys, and it's a great look. They're both green too, that part of the jersey, and that's a gorgeous card.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you got? You got one more, Tony? I know you did.
I just remember when this came out, when Topps Finest basketball came out, we were all so excited.
Yes.
And I mean, packs were about it. I think they were, I forgot what they were, $4 or $5 a pack. And you would usually get maybe one, you'd get one, maybe two refractors a box. And of course, Jordan was the one everybody wanted. And this lot here has 10 93 Topps, 93 Topps Finest Jordan refractors. And that was the first really basketball chase card that there was. And this was the card, and it's a set that the refractors still look good. You see some of the Topps Chrome that don't age as well. This one does, and that Pops. Chrome. Oh my God, that Chrome! I mean that look it looks like a mirror. It's amazing.
Yeah, incredible stuff there. That'll be closing tomorrow night. So we're going to take one more quick break. And when we come back,
10 minutes.
10 minutes till extended bidding begins for session 1, which is the vintage material. So we'll talk about a few more things in session 1. And then we'll spend a little bit during extended bidding talking about what's going on in extended bidding, some things coming up that we're interested tomorrow night. And maybe we'll talk about what other valuable cards Tony did not collect. Tony, what do we got going on the big board right now?
There's going to be one that I did collect, though. Okay.
Just one.
66 Topps Mantle, PSA 9, one higher, 19,000. Got hit twice now, it looks like, recently here. 87,500 for the 73 Roberto Clemente Gem Mint 10.
Wow.
That is really, really cool. That's amazing.
When we come back, we're going to talk some Clemente. So good timing there. So
by design.
One area of heritage that's really been growing is our animation art department. That's a venue that I remember when it started not too many years ago, and I thought, that's a thing, collecting it? And now they're getting 6-figure prices for material. And it's a venue that's really about nostalgia, which is a big part of collecting. And looking through their auctions and their catalogs, that's a department that, it just tugs at your memories. And they have a lot of stuff that I would love to own. And now it's too valuable for me to own. So let's take a look at what they have coming up.
Hi, this is Jim Lentz of Heritage Auctions.
I want my MTV.
And I want my MTV and Nickelodeon animation art. Welcome to 2023 and our first showcase 4-week animation art sale of the year. We are proud to bring you the animation art of Nickelodeon and MTV Studios. This sale salutes some of the best of the 1990s television animation shows and some of the last shows that used hand-painted production cells. It goes live on HA.com beginning January 19th and ends on February 16th. First up is a show that I think somewhere I have cases and cases of home-recorded VHS tapes of my kids' favorite show then, Rugrats. This sale brings them back in grand fashion. Great production cells and drawings, none other than Tommy Pickles and Chucky Finster, Angelica, Phil and Lil, Dee Dee and Stu, and even Grandpa Lou Pickles. This long-running show is celebrated in our first of the year showcase auction.
Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy.
Our showcase sale has some great lots from the legendary Ren and Stimpy show, production cells, animation and layout drawings, even some great hand-painted backgrounds. It's hard to believe this show premiered August 11th in 1991 and is over 30 years old. There are some really great artwork in this sale of both Ren Hoek and that lovable cat, Stimpy. One of the many highlights of this fun sale is the dazzling collection of hand-painted production cells and unbelievable master hand-painted production backgrounds from SpongeBob SquarePants. This show only used hand-painted production cells in Season 1, so these are considered incredibly rare. I still vividly remember watching my first SpongeBob episode with my kids. I walked around for a week going, I
Rip my pants.
Great production cells of SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, Sandy, and Plankton. These lots have some of the most beautiful hand-painted production backgrounds we have ever seen.
Settle down, Beavis.
We are proud to bring a great selection of Beavis and Butthead production art to this sale. Paramount Plus has recently relaunched new episodes of this series with the original classic characters created by Mike Judge. The selection of artwork in this sale will make you laugh just looking at it. In this first sale dedicated to the animation art of Nickelodeon and MTV Studios, the list of properties represented just goes on and on. There are great lots from one of my personal favorite cartoon shows of this time period, Jim Jenkins' Doug. Other great shows in this sale are the highly stylized Aeon Flux, Rocko's Modern Life, and even Real Monsters. This first ever auction of the animation art of Nickelodeon and MTV Showcase auction begins on January 19th for viewing and runs through February 16th on HA.com. Please feel free to email us any questions you have on any lots, as we ask that you ask your questions before bidding, not after. We're always here to help. Coming up soon for the animation department will be our next showcase sale, The Heartbeat of a Cartoon, the art of the Disney animation drawing. Over 300 lots of one-of-a-kind animation drawings that we really think are the heartbeat of a cartoon. Over 300 lots from such films like Snow White, Pinocchio, and lots of Mickey Mouse and his pal Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and Pluto. That sale runs March 16th through April 13th. And we have our first signature sale of the year, The Art of Disneyland and the Disney Theme Park, coming in March. There's lots of great sales coming your way from the Heritage Auctions Animation Department in 2023. Thanks for listening. And on behalf of everyone here at Heritage Animation Team, we hope to see you all bidding at the Animation Art of Nickelodeon and MTV sale on HA.com. We hope you find that perfect piece to add to your collection. Animation art is the art that provides a lifetime of smiles. And remember, stay safe, choose joy, and stay tuned.
Jim Lentz, the head of that department.
Wow.
A classic.
That was
true showman.
I've known him since, I've been for 10 years. And I never knew he could pop off a promo like that. That is amazing.
Maybe we should start having him do promos for sports.
Yes.
But yeah,
Get a third seat here.
Some good advice from him there. Ask questions before bidding. Little Jim, he slipped in there.
I like his MTV. That was impressive.
So that's a really fun department, obviously, and the people that work in that department are very enjoyable as well. Be sure to check out their auctions coming up. They have a lot of auctions this year, and that stuff obviously is very cool. I'm sure a lot of them hit you right in the nostalgia right there. Tony, what do we got going on the big board for session 1?
Okay, Johnny Unitas, 1957 tops. SGC 7,
classics.
1900. Yeah, absolutely. It would go good with that Bobby Lane card.
Yes.
Quinn Buckner rookie, Gem Mint 10, 300.
Former Mavericks coach.
He was.
Yeah.
Very good coach. 3,500 for the 51 tops Redback master set, 48 of 52 in that one. 2,700 for 52 Bowman baseball partial set. So a lot of bids coming in. 63 tops mantle, gorgeous card. PSA 8 at 4,800.
And just a few minutes left to get your bids in for extended bidding on session 1, which is the vintage side. Session 2, the modern side, starting in 1980, will be tomorrow night. You got all night and all day tomorrow to bid on that. But we have an incredible collection of Clemente cards closing tonight. Tony, which one's caught your eye?
1963 tops, which I think is one of the great sets. Those bottom two borders are very colorful, and as we all know, chip easily. It's such a great look here. He's in the field, then he's got his bat. This one here is a mint 9, and just a very small population of this card. 17,500.
Wow.
He's that icon. He's the guy known in Pittsburgh. Tragic death, of course, on New Year's Eve. But this card only has 2 higher.
Wow.
So a lot of people looking. You made a good point about it earlier. It's not just the rookie cards. It's any of these years with small populations. And we had I think it was a Hank Aaron did a couple 100,000 for the only Gem Mint 10 last auction. Here's a good example of that as well. Mint 9, 2 higher. This population's not going to get higher. Or if it does, and maybe by 1 or 2, just because these are so hard to find in high grade. So really cool, Clemente.
I was talking to somebody at the Dallas Card Show a few weeks ago. Great show if you want to attend. And he was a financial guy who had done very well, And during the pandemic, he had never collected anything. He read comic books when he was a kid.
Okay.
He was a big sports fan. He said, I had a few cards, but I was never serious about it. And during the pandemic, he jumped into collecting, and he said, some of these rookie cards people pay so much for, but they don't look as good as some of the players' other later entries. And he's like, I'm just buying the ones that look good that I like.
It's a great way of
and he was kind of
it.
not, he was trying to get a little advice on which rookies were going to pop and were most valuable. But essentially, he's totally new to it. He knew very little, but he'd done a ton of research, and Clemente was one. He said, I like his later entries a lot better than I like his rookie card. And he said, the rookie card is so expensive now, so he's going for what he likes. And I think we're seeing that a lot of people are kind of thinking that way.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like the rookie card they made less of. I mean,
right.
It's the same. I think it's the same population that was made. It's just, and this is when he was dominating too.
Yes.
He had his first 5 years. He didn't have his crazy good career. He was better toward the latter half of his career. And the card that we're going to talk about next, I still have this card. I remember buying it at.
You do have that one.
I have this card. Bought it at a flea market. In probably 1984, 85. A young Tony bought this card. Now, mine's probably like a 1 or 2 grade. I'm not gonna lie. So mine's not mint 9, and mine's probably way off center. But great up close look.
Maroon at the bottom.
But no, it's a great up close look. Clemente, he's got that Pirates pennant right across the front, and this one here, mint 9 again, high grade. So
a lot of top of the top entries in the Clemente grouping that
Yes.
we have. I noticed I was putting out our display. Really incredible.
Yeah. The next one here. This one's kind of hard to see. Honestly, it was issued. The cards come out, or they used to come out in 70s, 80s. They'd come out in January, February, right before spring training. And this one, he had passed away. He died on New Year's Eve, 1972. And they did make a 73 card of him. And, it's kind of sad to see, but I mean, this one here, Gem Mint 10, 87,500 right now. This had a 30,000 estimate. So, it's a cool card. A great one.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of 72 but yeah, if you're looking for Clementes, we have great ones tonight, and some great ones coming up. I'm going to go back to Cobb real quick because I love these rare Cobb pieces. We talked about that supplement that was exploding earlier. This is the 1907 Wolverine News. Wolverine News just sounds like the coolest issue.
That sounds Michigan.
Not just because I'm an X-Men fan, but yes, this is the batting stance and early career Cobb stuff here. He became a huge star and was really the face of the league for a long time. So, as his career progressed, there was more things that had his face on them, more opportunities. But that early career stuff is really hard to find. Yeah, and this is the postcard, and only 7 examples of it graded in PSA. When you're talking about Ty Cobb, only 7 graded. That is just going to carry a premium for collectors.
And it's 1907. That's right at the beginning, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, that's got to be one of the earliest issues that they made of him.
And it's a top 2, none higher, of just 7. A little oversized to the postcard. You just know it's a postcard. Back then, that was the only way you could communicate. So people were using those. Nobody was saying, hey, I'm going to hold on to this postcard that I could be using to communicate with my brother or whatever, and I got to send it now because it's going to take 2 months for it to get there. He's almost 100 miles away. So yeah, I love that old history. I even love on those old postcards when they have the writing on them, and you get a little insight into their life. It's like send bread or whatever. It's always something very of the time. This one's a clean example on the back. Great full portrait image. Cobb right there. Love this one, and I'm excited to see what it's going to end up at. Only 7 rated. Another rarity here. I saw this in the vault area. I can pull the curtain back on how many areas we have at Heritage. Really unique. This is a 1926 W512 strip card, uncut panel of the strip cards. So great presentation piece here. Really beautiful, and so it's not just athletes. This also has actors and aviation stars. Remember when aviation stars were popular? No,
yes,
that didn't happen in our lifetime. That is a thing of the bygone era. But you've got Ruth and Hornsby here. This is just a great representation of the Roaring 20s. You got Westmuller, you got Hagen, Furpo, Carpentier, Leonard. It's 7 by 11, so a very nice display piece. And VG 2.5 from VGS right there. You've got 25 images, and it's half of the 50 card set. Blank back you see there, but very cool look into the Roaring 20s right here in all aspects of it, not just sports. Cool piece right there. Oh, and I'd forgotten to mention this earlier. We talked so much about mantle, but we have a really great example of the 52 Burke Ross mantle. And we've talked a little bit tonight about how people are getting priced out of some of the most popular cards. And the 51 Bowman mantle is definitely one of those. It's been like that for a long time. The Burke Ross, same image. You know, I cannot afford a 51 Bowman mantle. But the Burke Ross is a little bit more affordable example. This one at near mint 8, I wouldn't call it affordable. There's only 2 higher, but I just wanted to highlight the 52 Burke Ross. Everybody loves that image of mantle, and here's another one. So there's 23 at an 8, and there's only 2 higher here. And this is the multi-sport release, which I like. The multi-sport releases, kind of like that strip card that you're getting a little bit extra. And another collection we have that is a true rarity is the 68 Topps 3D. Tony, I know you never owned a 68 Topps 3D card.
No, and I love. Is that Reggie? Who is that?
No, Rick Monday.
Oh, Rick Monday. I'm sorry.
It does look like
looking
Reggie there a little bit.
I saw the left-handed pose, and I'm like,
but these, it's a miracle that they even came out. You know, there's a little bit of a mystery to it. You know, there's no hard set facts of how many of these were released or made it out, but the height of 68 lenticular 3D technology right here.
What does the back say? There's something like says like Kodachrome or something on the back, or maybe not.
This is the blank back.
Okay,
right here.
Clemente's the one that we'll see once in a while, and it'll say like, you know, and that's cutting edge is what it was back for 1972 or
but the technology did work. It was just too expensive to mass produce. But when you look at them in hand, which luckily working at Heritage, I've gotten to see some in hand because I've never owned any of these, but it did work in 1968. You know, we were going to the moon the next year, so technology was at a high point at the time, despite what you might think. But these are just such cool cards. Very limited amount out there. Just regionally in Brooklyn is where they all.
Is that where they
out.
all? Okay.
But you know, the story's shrouded in mystery, which kind of makes me think somebody snuck them out the back door and you know, waited a little bit and then released them. But you just never see these, and we have about 24 in this auction, and really high grade examples. I pulled out this Rick Monday one. It's a PSA 8. There's only 4 graded examples out there of this card. Yeah, and you know, almost all of those 68 Topps 3D are very low pop total, and we've got some nice high grade examples of those low pops, and they're just cool to look at. And those are definitely something when you have them in your collection, most people haven't even seen them.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They're going to stand out, or if you have them on display at a show or something, people, you know, they want to pick them up and see the technology.
Something they haven't seen
work.
before.
And it does work. It's very cool for 68. Surprising. Another big item we had in this auction that I'd never seen one before. Tony, I know you never owned it.
I know I didn't.
This is a 59 Topps football, the first series vending box. So
I love the way they photograph this one.
Yes.
I mean, because when I first saw it, I'm like, wait, what is that?
Very nice imagery from our photography department, who does not get enough credit. I'll say that Pete Calderon wrote this one. Great write-up here. And estimate...
Don't give him a big head.
Estimate 8,000. Don't worry, I'm about to tear him back down.
Okay.
Estimate 8,000, currently at 97,500 as we enter extended bidding. But this is just one of those things. Good luck estimating it. You know, we've never seen one before. What's it going to sell for? But really interesting. If you look at that third picture, Tommy, of it opened up.
Wasn't there like a horning or was it?
So we say the term pack could be misleading. There are not 7-card on open wax or solo packs in there. They're in bundles, like one would associate with currency. Shout out to the Heritage Currency Department. And then paper bands are used to put them together. And so this is untouched. They were never taken out, but it wasn't distributed in packs. This is exactly how it was distributed.
It's a cool look to, to the beginning of vending and how they
trying to figure out how to distribute things. Yep. You got to start somewhere. And there it is, 59 Tops Football, very cool series. Of course, you've got Unitas and Jim Brown and Gifford and Starr and Bobby Lee we talked about. But a really unique item, another thing that I had never seen before. And when you open it up, and it's not packs, it's these bundles.
It's something different,
way to describe it. But I think it's already well past its estimate, obviously, but I think it's going to do a little more because that's one of those super unique items that
you'll never see it again.
You're never going to see another one.
Yep.
Another wax item I really like, just for the aesthetics, if you will, is the 75 Tops baseball rack pack. This is another one that was catching a lot of eyes in the gallery. A simple design, but really cool use of color, and less is more. And I'll say this about 70s stuff, which I love. Less is more was not always employed.
No. So out of all the 70 sets, that is the one.
Yes, and this is the one to have. 24 packs inside. Rookie cards of Brett and Yao and Rice and Gary Carter, and Fred Lynn, of course. Baseball Card Exchange notes that Gary Carter appears on the top of one of the packs. So, there you're getting the Gary Carter, friend of Heritage.
Yes,
Carter.
yes.
This one's also from that Monticello River find, so some really premium wax. Not coming out of the Monticello River,
thankfully.
Just the Monticello River find. But as you know, I just love that. The graphics back then, truly spectacular. All right, Tony, what you got as far as wax?
1980 Tops basketball wax box. And this has the Magic Bird rookie and the one with Dr. J. It was a unique design where they put 3 panels together to make one card. Short-lived.
What do you think about that?
I hated it.
Should they kept that going?
I absolutely hated it. And of course, the ones I had the Bird rebound or scoring leaders it was.
Right.
And I did own a Magic Bird rookie in a 7. And when I sent it in, I'm like, this thing's gonna get an 8 or 9, and it came back. I'm like, what? It had the snowing on.
Good Raiders. Does anyone ever get their cards back and say, you know what? They nailed it.
You got it right this time. Mine was back in 1998 or 1999, and I was so bummed. Corners were gorgeous, but it had that snowing on the bird part,
yes.
Which they almost all do.
And that weird design is what has made, that rookie card so valuable.
Yes.
There are not a lot of examples.
No.
But there could be one in that box.
Maybe.
You pop that one open. What are those going for? 20 to 30?
Like 20 to 30, yeah.
Yeah, so still pretty pricey to pop open.
Take a chance. That's a big chance to take.
Next, every time we have one of these, which we've been blessed to have a few, I've got to note it, 77 Tops Star Wars series.
Yes.
Wax box. This movie changed a lot of things, but it changed marketing and merchandising for sure. They were on everything: action figures, backpacks, lunch boxes. I bet a lot of people watching had things with Star Wars on it. That Tony had.
I had the yearbook too.
But
I did the yearbooks.
Star Wars is just a monolith in the culture. It's still going. They're still putting out incredible material. Watch Andor if you have not. But a beautiful box. It's got the movie poster on the front. Got the Luke Skywalker rookie in there. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Error card is very popular. But
we don't need to explain the error on the card either.
Yeah, we won't get into that unless it comes up. But we have a few Star Wars boxes in this sale. If you're interested, that is some great wax right there. And I think that's something it's only going to increase.
Exactly. That thing
value.
always goes up. I mean, those things were hitting up to like 20 grand at one time.
Yes.
It's just amazing that.
So there's 5 series. The series 1 is the most valuable. That's that one right there. This next one of wax is something I've never seen before. Definitely popped out. It's a 1935 Gum Incorporated. Can you have a more generic name for a gum company than Gum Incorporated? This is a Mickey Mouse unopened wax pack from 1935. PSA near mint 7, but show me yours as the grade goes. But you got Mickey right there. Yeah, I mean, ancient wax right there. There's not much wax that even exists from before like 1954.
And it's got Mickey Mouse on the front of it too. I mean,
And we talked about how big Star Wars is. Disney's even bigger, and you have to say that because Star Wars is part of Disney now. But this is just so cool. Mickey Mouse is still one of the most important figures in cultural history. He's right there. This is a non-sports issue. And the cards inside have incredible colored depictions of Mickey Mouse. I'd love to pop that one
to see what's in there. There's no gum in there, is there?
It
says bubble gum.
It has gum in it. Yeah. So that's at $2,700 right now. Curious to see what it does. I know Derek Grady would eat the gum. He's always up for that challenge, no matter how old it is. If you pop open an old pack or an old box, find Derek Grady. He will eat the gum.
He'll chew the gum.
Yeah. We have a lot of great wax in this auction, and
that one was cool.
Non-sports wax. So I wanted to talk about the non-sports stuff. We've been talking a little bit about how the hobby's expanding and maybe getting out of the norms that all of us that have been doing it for so long. You got to think this way. This is what's valuable. This isn't. So non-sports, I think, is something that's going to become a lot more popular. There's a lot of passionate non-sports collectors out there. Pete Calderon, our head card cataloger, is one of them. He knows everything, and this stuff's kind of obscure.
Yeah, and the graphics on those boxes sometimes are so cool. I will say, though, every time I do walk by the Incredible Hulk one, I still get a little nervous. When I see Lou Ferrigno's face, I still get, I'll be walking by and it still frightens me a little bit.
Someone
yes, he could. But no, you're right. I mean, they're much more obscure, and there's some really cool looks to these.
And I think they, like that animation art thing, that there's something about this nostalgia of shows you watch, movies you watch, that you watched repeatedly. And, things from that older era, you watch them repeatedly because once they got syndicated, you didn't have a lot of choices. But I love this one, the 66 Fleer Three Stooges wax box. You got headshots of all three right there, and then on the sides, I love the big heads on the tiny bodies. Kings of comedy that in their era. I don't know if their brand of comedy would, if they came out right now, but you never know.
They were pretty good.
You never know.
I'll still watch and laugh. I mean, they were good.
But we sold a curly card for $10,000 last year. So there is value in that box, but this one really jumped off the rack in our vault. The colors are so vibrant on it. And just another cool thing to have in your collection that people are going to want to talk about. Another one that I love, this one. This is one of my favorite movies when I was a kid, and I didn't understand the implications of it all. This is a 75 Tops Planet of the Apes wax box. Tony, you familiar with the Planet of the Apes?
It was a little before my time.
Yeah, well, I'm younger than you. So
yes, I was -1.
Yes. So,
I don't remember.
Planet of the Apes, great movie, started a franchise. Charlton Heston at his chewing scenery finest in this one, and just an ending that's legendary. And I love that they have a card set for it, and I love that somebody saved the unopened box, and somebody's gonna win this tonight. It's at $1,100, but you think they're gonna rip it open?
No.
You ripped it open.
No.
You ripped it open. My jumping head. But
All right. Here
there
we
is
go.
a lot of great, these like obscure wax, that 70s and 80s era. They were like, how can we make more money on this than just making the movie? What are these alternate trends? And a lot of them were trading cards. And it just amazes me that some of this wax is still out there. And of course, Tony, you know, I got to mention the 1990.
I remember those.
Marvel Universe series unopened box with 36 packs. This one is blown up. It's at $775.
That
Great
is
price for this.
I feel sick.
But I bought so many of these packs. I was trying to get every Spider-Man card that existed back in the day. And this had some really great ones. Really great villain images on there too, and a lot of Marvel.
I remember those.
A lot more Marvel fans out there now than there was.
Yeah.
It seemed when I was a kid. But great Marvel wax exists, and those sets are
I
very
didn't know
cool.
those.
All right, let's check in on the big board, Tony.
All
We're
right,
up
the
on
big
wax
board.
forever.
I like
The
that
obscure wax too.
that non-sport wax. I
Yeah,
totally
so
get
trying
it.
to tell people, they always ask us what's next, so we're trying to predict the future.
Roy Campanella, non-sport wax.
Yeah, there we
Right
go.
there, everybody.
They go hand in hand.
The 33 Gaudy Ruth, 10,500. 57 Topps basketball complete set with the Russell in a SGC 5, 11,569. So somebody
Wow.
has a nice little bidding war
They know what
going
they're
on that
doing
one.
right there. That's the cool thing about the recent bid screen on our home screen is you can see the battles happening live, because something will get hit and you'll just be watching, and then it'll get hit again 30 seconds
Yep.
later, and everybody's been in that situation where you're like, you're trying to steal that from me, huh? So you can watch it, and then you can go to the lot, read all about it, see what they're trying to win.
Campanella, 29,000 for the 49 Bowman.
Nice, great example.
Yes, 25,000 for the 52 Topps near set.
So tomorrow, extended bidding's going on for session 1. Tomorrow is the modern side. We're going to talk a lot about it on social media tomorrow, but included in there is tickets, which is something that genre has totally revolutionized in the last year and a half. Almost 1 year ago, we set the record for a ticket, 480,000 for the Jackie Robinson debut ticket. Same auction right behind it was the only known full ticket for Michael Jordan's debut, still the only known full ticket. So tickets have really changed. The prices really exploded for those top tier tickets, the really rare ones, and for the general collecting community, a lot of tickets that were getting no attention and no interest are finally getting some attention and some value behind them. We have a really nice selection of tickets that are going to close tomorrow night, and I had to talk about this one. We've been lucky to see a couple of these. It's the 1919 World Series Game 8. Ever been to a Game 8?
I have never been to a Game 8.
Tony? Yeah.
I've never been to a World Series game, period, in person.
I think there's probably anyone left alive who went to a Game 8. Is that
No,
safe to say at this point?
I think it is.
If you have,
Yeah.
call me. I'd love to talk to you. But yeah, Game 8 of the 1919 World Series. Other than the first World Series tickets from that, the 1919 World Series are the most desirable.
Yes.
No question. Like we talked about earlier with the Joe Jackson Cracker Jack, it's because of the infamy and the horrible thing that happened, the rigging of the World Series. So this is from Game 8 at Comiskey, the event that effectively ensured the impending doom of the 8 men out right there. One of my favorite stories from that World Series is that the White Sox starter for Game 8, Lefty Williams, was purportedly visited by a strange individual the night before the game, and said he was going to harm him and his wife if he didn't come through with throwing the game. And in the first inning, Williams gave up 4 straight one-out hits for 3 runs. Strong evidence that the conspiracy was at work. A lot of people pointed to that. The commissioner pointed directly to that event that led off this Game 8 right here. In the third inning, Shoeless Joe Jackson hit the only home run of the series, his only World Series home run. Strong evidence that maybe he wasn't in on the take. He had a really good series. Who knows? But, so that's not only is it the deciding game ticket, it's also Shoeless Joe's only home run ticket right here.
It's got a lot of things going in the right
8.
direction.
For those wondering why it says number 4 instead of number 8 on the ticket for Game 8, it's because back then they numbered it by the venue. So this was the 4th game at Comiskey. They didn't do it by the entire games of the series. There's only 5 Game 8 examples of this ticket.
I've never seen one
in the PSA population. So this is something that you don't see them ever.
No, I mean, you'll see. I've never seen like a couple, like Game 1 or Game 2 or 3, but I don't recall ever seeing a Game 8.
Yeah, so this one's just graded authentic. You can see the damage, but one thing that I like about the tickets where you can sometimes kind of disregard the grade is if it's a stub and it's in bad shape, it was there. It was in somebody's pocket.
And they kept it.
It's kind of a piece of memorabilia, but a card because it can be graded. There's population reports, so a lot of people like the merging of the two of them.
And they're small too.
Yeah, so really interested to see what this one does. Great piece of history right there from one of the, you could say most important events in baseball history. It's important on the bad side, but definitely changed the league, definitely changed the White Sox, and definitely changed, the career of Shoeless Joe Jackson and how he's interpreted by everyone, even though he's still very popular among collectors, of course. One more really interesting ticket here. It's the 1938 Jackie Robinson touchdown full ticket. You're saying, Jackie Robinson touchdown? What's going on here? Well, this is from 1938. He was a multi-sport star. So he also played football, and this was the Palisades Junior College. And you look up the results, he did throw a touchdown in this game. So, of course, he was an incredible athlete. He also ran track. But just a unique ticket, I thought. So it's the only one that's out there. So if you're looking for a unique Jackie Robinson item, this is it right here. And it's football season. So.
Yes, yeah. I've seen some photos of him in the football uniform, and it's different, I'll say that. But it is cool because it's, a low population, of course, and it's, anything Jackie Robinson.
Of course.
There's just not enough out there for the huge demand.
What do you got as far as?
This one here is really is cool to me. It's a movie that I think we all watched and still kind of brings a tear to the eye. I will say that. The Rudy game, Notre Dame versus Georgia Tech. Of course, Rudy gets in the game and at the end has a sack. This one actually is a full ticket. You'll see stubs occasionally, but this is the highest graded full ticket from that game. And no, I wouldn't get it signed or anything like that. It looks so beautiful in that holder right now.
He's a willing signer, though.
He is a willing signer, but no.
The end of that game is crazy because it feels like it was written for a movie.
Yes, exactly.
The teammates did need to score. They could have just ran out the clock. The coach wanted to run out the clock. So they threw a long pass to score. He gets in the game and he has a sack on the last play. Like, if you didn't know the game existed and you watched the movie, you would say, this is corny crap right here.
It is, absolutely. You're right.
It actually happened. He was the first Notre Dame player to be carried off the field on the player's shoulders. So that,
and a heck of a movie.
Yeah, heck of a movie.
It was a
Sean Austin killing it. John Favreau also killing it. But yeah, great moment. And, we talk about teams that are the biggest among collectors. And, in baseball, it's the Yankees and the Red Sox. And in football, it's the Packers and the Cowboys. And, for college football, it's hard to argue that Notre Dame isn't that status right there. And that's one of their most famous moments. Notre Dame football has a long history of great moments, but that's the one that even a layman knows about. Yep. So very cool ticket to have there. And, of course, we got to talk about Michael Jordan a little more. And I brought this one out, the flu game ticket from the 1997 NBA Finals, Game 5. The big revelation that it was the pizza. He ate the pizza in the last dance. When he said that, I wondered how it was going to change the perception of that game. Because it's always called the flu game, and everybody thought he'd had the flu, and everybody's had the flu for sure.
He did look pretty rough.
Well, probably everyone's had a little bit of food poisoning. Not everybody's had like a disastrous case of food poisoning. Either impossible to imagine playing in a basketball game, much less the NBA Finals. But very cool ticket stuff from one of his most iconic moments. He's got a lot, but from the NBA Finals.
I just remember Scottie Pippen just carrying him off the court almost. They're arm in arm, and Jordan's laying on the bench with a towel over his head. And I mean, it's, you talk Rudy, that's another one that could be a movie almost. There we go. And we got the shot could end. You could do the something on the whole final.
Okay, not bad idea. Not a bad idea. Tony, I saw you wanted to talk about your set.
When so many times somebody will call and say, "Hey, I've got 90s," and you're like, "Oh, this is that's
we
the junk."
Never act like that.
No, we don't. I mean, you might think, "Oh my
about
gosh, okay." Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way, but this is one that in the 90s does have big value. Always will have big value, and it's kind of patriotic. Also, the 90s,
very patriotic.
The 91 Topps Desert Shield baseballs only sent out to the troops. Most of them didn't make it back.
And sent to the Middle East.
Yes, it's not like they said, "Hey, here are these boxes. Here are a whole bunch of cards that you could put them in." So, but this one here is a high grade set from the 91 Topps Desert Shield. It's a near set 786 of 792, but it's got all those really big names. Bo, you see Bo, Griffey, Chipper Jones, Frank Thomas. I mean, that is the one set that it's just does have big value, always will have big value, and it's just one from the quote junk wax era. That is super, but it's so rare because, like you said,
the only people who receive them, they had more important things to do than collect baseball cards.
Yeah. This was a little
so a lot
just
were discarded. Even what came back is in horrible condition. They put them in their packs, keeping them in their lockers and their bunks. Like you said, they're in the desert. There was no place to keep these in great condition, so you hardly ever see sets. And when you do, they are very low.
And thankfully, Topps didn't just send them product.
Yeah,
they put that gold seal on.
Yes,
because without that, they'd just be, hey,
the only way you can get.
Yes, so really cool thing by Topps.
Another big set.
86 Fleer basketball. This one, in our generation, is a 52 Topps.
Yes,
it really truly is, and a high grade set. If you're gonna start collecting, here you go. You have the whole 86 set. The nice thing about this set is, it's 132 cards, so it's not 700 cards or anything crazy. But to have it all high grade, that's a set that continues to go up and is very, very well.
I think that's Magic's best.
That is actually, yeah. I think you're right on that. And the Jordan's the Jordan.
A lot of stars in there.
And it's against the Celtics, too.
Yeah, it is.
So, it's most likely a final.
All right, we're going to do one more item that's tomorrow. I had to talk about a favorite of Heritage Department head Chris Ivey, the 1985 Topps Garbage Collectors. Did you collect these, Tony?
Well, Chris Ivey's mom let him collect them. My mom wouldn't let me collect these. We were not allowed to have these. That and Married with Children we were not allowed to watch. So I did not ever get a pack of these, and so I didn't collect.
I had these guilty stickers. I don't have them. But this is an uncut sheet, 132 stickers, 44 different subjects, each presented 3 times. And the uncut sheet, another great display piece. I mean, you are going to get a lot of interest if you hang this on your wall.
Okay, I got to ask you, did you have a favorite one? Did you have one that you'd buy and like, oh, I hope to get?
I mean, Adam
Bombs is the popular one, yeah.
It's the one that I remember for sure. Black Cat was another one. I think that had the steamroller. Savage Stewart. I know that was like the Conan the Barbarian one. So there's some classic ones there. Classic 80s humor.
That's straight out of our childhood.
Yeah, something that's tugging on the heartstrings right there for a lot of collectors. And Garbage Pail is something that the cards have become more valuable. The unopened packs, there's an unopened packs in this auction. The unopened boxes are really unique to have.
I like the sheets because you can display it.
Yeah.
And it looks so cool having the whole set where, you know.
It's a head turn.
Yeah, it really is. Because then you can start looking at each one individually. And, I don't think I'm going to collect them.
So I thank everyone for joining us tonight. It's been a lot of fun, as always. Thank you, of course, to our consigners and the bidders out there. We obviously can't do what we do without you guys out there. Good luck to the bidders continuing in extended bidding tonight. And tomorrow night, remember, session 2, the modern card and tickets is tomorrow, starting at 1980. And extended bidding begins at 10 p.m. Central Time. We're going to talk about a lot of things on our social media tomorrow, so you can check that out. And then, of course, I will mention the premier event in the industry every year, our Winter Platinum Night auction. It's going to open this weekend, and we have some landmark items.
We're going to need about 5 days to have a show to describe.
Yeah, let's
all
do like
that
a
material.
telethon kind of thing. Non-stop. We can have Jason Simmons in the back answering the phones. It'll be like a Jerry Lewis telethon.
That's going to be a fun one.
But yeah, it's always
That's going to be a fun one.
Had a lot of fun tonight. Thank you for joining us. Of course, you can always reach out to us. We love to just talk the hobby, but if you'd like free appraisal or to talk about consignment, there's the info right there. Tony,
One more
Tony on
thing.
the spot.
We're going to be in Houston next weekend at a show. So we'll be there for the TriStar show, and then I'll be in Tampa the following week picking up consignments. So for anybody in the Houston area next weekend, we'll be there. And then I'll be in Tampa Sunday through Wednesday.
Excellent. And you can always reach us at accessprepaid.com. Plenty of ways to reach us right there. Or feel free to message us on any of our social media platforms. And thank you to the production team. There's 35 people back there putting on.
What a crowd. Oh, my goodness.
Most of them iron Tony's shirt. That's a big part
Well,
of it.
I was told.
But it's something impossible to do without dozens of people. There's so many ins and outs that goes into it. So we really appreciate all of them doing their job. Good luck to everyone in the auction, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.